Today I'm gonna present my thesis. It is entitled End-to-End Business Process Innovation, and it is for the needs of the fulfillment of the degree, of the MBIT degree. You are the one who is supervising, of course. I'm gonna go through the agenda, the contents. It's the preface, some kind of description and definition, some kind of explaining the market in the area, the strategies, the proposition, the management and how these issues are handled, and some financial aspects. They're mostly extracts from reports from AMR and IDC that they are available, and some concluding remarks. So with a preface, end-to-end business processes is about addressing business information and processes across organizational technological silos. Innovation involves first introducing something new, which can be an idea, a method, or a device. Innovation is a very hot term, and it seems that recently replaced terms such as agile and excellence as a buzzword of choice in business literature. Business have always tried to be innovative, entrepreneurs with new ideas, managers with introduction of new processes and methodologies, marketing through unique ads and campaigns, and finally R&D through invention and the use of technology with new products and services. So the scope, it will not be a new concept what we will discuss today. Innovation in this presentation will mostly relate to the use, the flow of master data and metadata in such a way to enable visibility and availability of key information across the enterprise. We have a couple of examples. One is from the Business Week, the special innovation section in June 2007, which suggested that Six Sigma undermined innovation at 3M. It's been a lot of talk about the way 3M innovates and what happened when they tried in the early 2000s to apply Six Sigma. It seems that that thing didn't work out. Also, we will use the Innovation Entrepreneurship book of Peter Drucker, which argued that entrepreneurship required innovation. The next thing we will try to do is try to explain the angle we'll see this issue. It's from the angle of the business process expert. Business process experts have the business knowledge and IT savvy to make business process innovation happen in real time by adapting, composing, and executing end-to-end business processes using composition software tools and enterprise services. Business process expert is a role that today is done partly by a business analyst, partly by an application consultant, and partly by a process developer. The business process expert is neither a traditional developer nor a traditional business analyst, but is able to apply the concepts, metrics, and performance objectives of businesses in analysis, design, and optimization of IT implementations, scalable of executing and monitoring cross-functional processes. Such a role demands a common language that bridges the worlds of businesses and IT. The business process modeling notation, which is a standard of OMG. I will elaborate a little bit on that. Business process management is an emerging discipline that looks at the enterprise in a radically new way. Instead of trying to automate and optimize individual functional units like sales, supply chain, and customer service in isolation, BPM views the enterprise from the perspective of end-to-end cross-functional processes, exactly the way customers and trading partners see. At the same time, emerging BPM tools let model, automate, measure, and optimize business from such an end-to-end perspective. These tools straddle the traditional business and IT divide and are elevating the importance of that new role of the business expert. What we see here is the business expert hourglass, which SAP has developed. There's a whole blog and forum there that knowledge is put and people communicate. Regarding the business processes of an enterprise, they are defined as a type of processes that contain the type of process and the relations between them, among them. We may define an architecture for the whole or for an enterprise part. The idea is related to several proposals and frameworks that enterprise use for architectural design. The most common that we will discuss here is the Zachman framework, which is very extended. Business process modeling notation is simple enough to be readily understandable by business, yet rich enough to support executional implementation without changing the underlying meta model. So there's no need to do extra work or transformations. As a result, it has become the de facto standard, or it has been announced as such from various various companies that they offer such suites. Namely Lombardi, Savion, Appian, TIBCO, Oracle, IBM, and SAP. Understanding how this model processes effectively use the notation is becoming a must-have for the business process, which again has the key role in that. Let's go to a quick description. And more into the innovation context and the process change, which we will try to distinguish between the process improvement, the process redesign, and the process re-engineering. So recent literature has really distincted these three issues. It's kind of three schools of thought, let's say. The first one, the creative thinking school, stresses the creativity and brainstorming with related techniques to help teams of people think of alternate ways of accomplishing a task. The second school is the trees, the theory of inventive problem solving. We know about the Russian theorist who actually invented or put in place that systematic and the engineering approach to such problems, to address such problems, and actually generate new possibilities, new ways of seeing and approaching. Trees was originally developed in conjunction with work on pattern analysis. Generic Altshuler is the Russian theorist who put that in place. The third school is the most current, is the one that relates innovation with process change. Michael Hammer is the one who is actually writing articles, and we had a book and a Harvard Business Review article about deep change. He contrasts innovation with improvement. The thing is that sometimes you just want to improve something that exists, existing processes, and sometimes completely change, alter the way you do business. There he suggests that innovation is redesign. Innovation is re-engineering is the most, yes. And we also see a diagram that shows that different functions, that different departments within our organization have a different ease of adapting these changes or this redesign. Maybe it's a cultural issue, maybe it's the business issue, what they do. In a traditional pyramid, that we will have the enterprise level, the business process level, and the implementation level. We have certain methodologies that apply there. There's various methodologies, various frameworks that they relate to these areas. We have the enterprise adoption of Six Sigma, which is a top management decision. We have the extended business management language, the XBML. This relates to the Zachman framework a lot. Now, if we go to business process level, we have the application of balanced scorecards of Kaplan and Norton. We have the capability maturity model from CMU. And we have the SCORE model, which is the supply chain, let's say, roadmap. Also, when we go to the implementation level, we have methodologies of business process modeling suites. We have the unified software processes, and we have analysis tools, business process analysis tools such as ARIS, which was initially developed in conjunction with SAP. Now the business analysis tools and the business modeling tools are kind of merging, and they kind of differentiate also from simple office applications such as Visio, where you can model and then extract models to write code or to implementation tools. On the same perspective, we have the enterprise architecture. What we see here is a reference model that US government is using for the federal authorities. These models are quite complicated, and there's large confusion between such models and the Zachman framework. Zachman created the framework so he would be able to map all kinds of information and to classify them. So it's not really hierarchical. It's really more complicated and more dedicated to the areas he sees it. Business process architecture is used mostly by business managers and business process practitioners. Is a description of the organizational business model, strategy, goals, and performance metrics. It is a description of value chains and large-scale processes used by the organization that shows how processes support organizational strategies and how they generate performance metrics. Here's the actual Zachman framework. I don't think it is easy to see. There's too much information in there. Basically, there's 6 viewpoints. The horizontal ones, which is the contextual one, the scope. This is aimed to the planner. The one that we focus mostly now is the business model. It's conceptual also, and it is aimed to the owner. There's a logical viewpoint, a system viewpoint. This is aimed to the designer. The physical, the technology one, to the one who is building the applications. Out of the context and detailed representations when we use a subcontractor. So we further scale down. And there's a functional enterprise viewpoint. The 6 aspects, the vertical ones, the data, function, network, people, time, and motivation, they relate to what, how, where, who, when, and why. So if you adopt such an approach, it's really easy where you start and how you relate all this information. Let's go further down to the definition of what we're discussing. And let's discuss a little bit the service-oriented architecture. What we see in that model is how SAP sees service-oriented architecture. Initially, they were referring to that as enterprise service architecture. And nowadays, they call it enterprise service-oriented architecture. Every big company, every software builder or manufacturer is using today a SOA model. SOA provides a blueprint for services-based, flexible business solutions. It helps companies create a common collection of business-oriented capabilities that are abstracted from the underlying technologies and organizational boundaries. And this is fundamentally different from the traditional application development approaches, where you were focusing on specific problems at that time. So the key characteristics of SOA is the reuse of the components of the services, the standardization of the definitions, because there's a lot of standardization work and standardization bodies that their platform and implementation dependent nowadays. So they're kind of mapping all business and enterprise needs. And there's exactly that holistic requirements and design. So when we're discussing about SOA projects, we're really looking in large scales rather implementation. Some standards that the software industry is using today is the most common one is the IT infrastructure library. The version 3, which is the most recent one, has transformed the approach to a service-based approach. When we're discussing today about services, we mostly mean web services, services that are available and they're implemented over the web and internet. So a web service is a piece of platform and system independent, self-contained, self-describing application functionality that it is designed and operates according to the open internet standards. According to a designated design and communication model, one application makes a web service available for use. It's the service provider. And the other application runs that provided service is the service consumer. Web services can be used for the communication between different applications and software components that are written in different languages, entering a different software system platform. So there's really the implementation of open standards and open architecture. If we move further down to how ITIL sees the IT organization, and with a classical approach of the back and the front office, the inner part of the organization and the outer part, the one that consumers and contractors and people that work with the company sees it, will have to focus on that centerpiece of the service catalog and the configuration management database. Because when we have ITIL implementations, there's a big argument. If you first build the configuration management database, so firstly you define the services that you offer to your customers. So there's huge debate that will be analyzed further in the paper. Here is an example of the association between the service catalog and the configuration management database. How the inner part of the organization sees it and how the customer sees it. There's more specialized applications such as the ETOM. The ETOM is the telecom operators map for such services. Conceptually, there's no differences. Somebody could say that the ITIL implementation is more service-oriented than the ETOM approach. If we move to the state of the BPMS market, if you present it to a chart with Geoffrey Moore would say that BPMS is at that early adapters phase at this point of time. Companies currently exploring BPMS, and they're doing just that. They explore. They have to determine exactly how they will use the technology of what they will take and how they're going to use it and how they will apply it to strategic decisions. Today, most companies are installing ERP applications, and very few are involved with moving into the SOA environment. If we go further down, and we will try to analyze to that curve, we will see that BPM became hot in around about 2003. It's the early 2000. That's very few years ago. And the BPMI, the Institute of Business Process Management, was founded just in 2002. The number of vendors today that they offer solutions and suits as such, it's around about 100, other with larger and very few more customized and focused applications. Now, depending on whom you're talking with, BPM can mean Six Sigma, balance scorecard, score, process redesign, can mean different things. It can even mean automating process through an ERP system. What we can really say is that such systems, such suits, are turning to a more mature phase, and the part of the systems that are turning into a more mature phase is the workflow applications that they incorporate in there, and the enterprise application integration. So it's not the tool itself that it is mature, but a lot of the tools that are used to model and to represent these things, they have crossed the chasm. And we have the organizational map. The organizational map is the representation of the inputs, outputs, the inputs, the outputs, and the external controls. You're probably describing the enterprise here. Depending on the purpose, it can include value chains, high-level business processes, and the interaction between them. There are many different analytic representations. A hierarchy diagram is showing how the value chain is decomposed into levels of sub-processes, really. Similarly, we represent scorecards, how scorecards at the enterprise level are decomposed to specific targets of organizational units, functions, and individuals. And if we go to a more familiar model, the DMAIC model, which is a classical approach of define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. There's a certain mapping between the ITIL application implementation and that model. Probably we are discussing the continual service improvement as an extra step, an extra part of the IT service management, which incorporates the evolution of such products and processes that in the beginning they address the requirements, but then on the run or the ecosystem and how changes are happening, they have to adapt into that. If we consider some strategic aspects, process discovery is the first step of the business process management. The scheme we'll see here is taken from the ARIS, which is a very detailed methodology. In our days, it's not only linked to SAP products, it's also adapted by Oracle as well. Let's elaborate a little bit on that. Every company considering an investment business process management practices and technology asks this question: how to pick the processes that best address corporate objectives, current problems, and feasibility concerns. To answer this question, people from every part of business must be engaged and facilitate conversations about goals, responsibilities, problems, and of course processes that they underlie. These conversations must ultimately result in prioritization of projects and processes. And everyone should somehow agree of which one is of the highest impact on that. It is a crucial capability for an organization, that thing. In fact, process discovery is more crucial for organizations that they have committed